we never say when we're starting. People don't know to get on board.
They don't know because we have to say hi and welcome to Orange Country.
I'm
Gina. This is Mr. Shane McAnally.
Hello.
And this is Orange Country.
You did it. So today we're going to talk about, that feels so formal.
It is.
That's how they usually sound, though. It's like, today we're going to be talking about...
Just like we have to have manners. You know, we got to tell people where they are and what they're listening to and what they're doing, right?
Right.
Who we are.
Why are
I'll
we here?
I'll be your spiritual guide.
You are my spiritual guide.
Through Orange Country.
But it's true, though. Wouldn't it be nice if somebody said...
Let's talk about Orange Country. Should we talk about that for a minute? Just
sure.
take a beat to talk about how that happened, right? It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun and...
a combination of our worlds.
It is.
Orange County and a country boy.
Country music.
Yeah.
And an orange country boy.
An orange country boy and an orange country girl.
Aren't you?
Because that is sort of my...
Aren't you country?
Yeah, but I'm orange country, right? Because that's how I identify to country music is very like, I'm an Orange County country music fan.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's funny how...
It's different.
It's a lot of layers. A lot of layers, I'm telling you.
Welcome to Orange Country.
I do want to start this episode with talking about something that happened to me today.
Okay.
And
good or bad?
It's good, but it is kind of heavy.
Okay, I like heavy.
But it really did affect me and knowing what we were coming to do and sort of the day I was having. So right now we are renting a place in Hollywood, Airbnb.
How is that?
It's fine. I will tell you this. It said you have to walk up 80 steps to get to it.
I don't do cardio.
I don't think I thought what 80 steps was.
It's 80.
Until I was carrying my bags and, well, I would say I was carrying my kids' bags, but my husband carried his kids' bags and our kids' bags. But 80 steps is a lot. A lot. It's up.
Did you find this place?
Well, the place is so cool, but the reason it's cool is you have to go up to 80 steps and then you're above everything right there in Hollywood, like where Hollywood and Highland and all that is.
Okay.
And you're looking down on all of that. And it's so
That's
cool.
That's such a good metaphor for life, right?
It is.
You could get to the top, but you got to fucking climb your way up. Yeah.
And I needed it because I didn't have a chance to work out here. But it was literally like the Santa Monica stairs. I mean, it was like, are you fucking kidding me? When they said 80 steps and then I got there last night in the pitch black night trying to like maneuver up these steps. But the point is not that. So this morning, when the kids were waking up, we didn't have anything in the house. And God knows last night when we got up those steps, we were not going back down to get anything. So
I would definitely make that like a DoorDasher's problem.
I can tell you one thing, you never fucking forget your keys or anything else up there.
No.
Like, because you're down. When you get down those stairs, you're down. So this morning, we went to the market and it's this little market around the corner. And I mean, that area of Hollywood it's not flashy.
Mm-hmm.
It's
I
there's
don't do LA, so
some
I don't
gritty areas.
Okay.
And it's sort of a touristy area, but there's this little strip mall with like 5 things in it right near the place. And we went into the market to get some cereal and milk and just stuff for the kids to have at the house.
Okay.
And my husband went in to grab this stuff. And while I'm sitting there, I see this laundromat and this very distinct sort of emblem the laundromat had, like a logo.
Okay.
And I realized that 17 years ago, I sat on the curb right there under that laundromat sign at 7 a.m., high as a kite, crying my eyes out because I'd been up all night long, did not have a ride, did not know what I was doing with my life. I was 30 years old.
That is crazy.
And that was the next day was the first time I went to an AA meeting.
So that was like that's your rock bottom spot.
It was. And I had others along the way, but that was the first time that I was like, I have got to figure my shit out. I'm never going to, my life is going nowhere. I was sober that run for 8 years. And
wow, you were sober for 8 years and then you revisited.
Yeah.
What made you fall off?
Well, it wasn't dramatic. It wasn't like something bad happened. Actually, what happened was a lot of good stuff.
Oh, and the celebration and thinking you could.
Yeah, and I think my life was so
it.
different. I had moved to Nashville, back to Nashville in those 8 years. I'd gotten married and had kids. And I think there was this thought that I wouldn't do that again. I can drink wine. I can have a beer. I'm so far from it. My lifestyle is so different. I'll never go back to
you won't step
doing
out
drugs
of bounds
or
the way, right. You have a different relationship with yourself now, what's going on,
That's
all
right.
that, and you can handle it.
That's
you
right.
can handle it in a more like mature way. You can handle it.
Exactly.
And
I would be responsible. I'm going to have kids.
Right.
You're not going to have kids and be buying cocaine.
Right.
But guess what? Life just got really good.
Yeah.
And so then I spent the following 8 years, after 8 years of being sober, I spent the following 8 years slipping and sliding, trying so hard to get sober again, because it's after you do that, not to make this an entire, a conversation about
public service announcement
getting
about
sober.
sobriety.
Yeah, but what happens is you realize how close it is and how easy it is. And so you think, well, I got 8 years, so now I'm drinking and I need to stop again. That'll be easy to do. If
you're thinking about the fact that you need to stop, though, you got a problem.
You need to stop.
Right? You got to stop. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the first things that happened to me that morning that I'm talking about back 17 years ago, what this morning reminded me of was that there I was sitting right there. I mean, I could feel it. I could feel the sick in my stomach. I could feel the not knowing how I was going to pay my rent. And who was going to pick me up? My relationships were all shit. I had nothing left.
Were you writing music though during this time?
I was always writing music,
okay.
but nothing was happening.
Nothing was happening.
No, and
you think it was because you were under the influence of these bad things, or
I don't think that had to do with not like being able to quote sell songs. I think that I was so far off path that wasn't even. I wasn't even close to that. Like I thought I was. I thought I was one thing away.
Yeah.
But the truth was I had to get to my authentic self. I had to get past all the stuff I was putting between me and the world to write the proper songs and also to tell the story in a way to myself that it was possible. I was just so worried about other things and trying to make the outside better when the inside was so fucked up. But I did have this incredible revelation this morning of saying, I'm leaving here with groceries for my children, with my husband, and I'm going to drive to Universal City and go to the Kelly Clarkson show and watch Dolly Parton and Kelly Clarkson perform a song that I co-produced. That is what getting up did. And showed me. Yeah. Going back. And not everybody.
It's so incredible to have the perspective, to have I mean, really, like to be in the same exact physical space, but to have two completely different lives and experiences when you are in that spot is crazy to me, I
just hope that if I just wonder if in that moment when I was sitting on that curb, if someone had told me a story like the story I just told,
could give hope to people, right? Yeah. And I think the bottom line is like we are sitting here today and it's an amazing place to sit. Yeah. Sometimes I have these days where I'm like, I don't know how I got here, but the bottom line is, you know what? It wasn't easy. And there was a lot of hard things that happen and life is not always peaches and cream, but like if you stick it out, you have the fortitude, you can get through stuff if you keep that positive energy, that positive space, and then you'll find like even if you end up in the same exact spot, you're in a completely different place.
Well, there was a reason for me to see it that way, and we were also coming to do this, and that I could come in here and tell you that story.
All of a sudden, those 80 steps don't look so high, right? That doesn't look so bad.
Exactly.
That's what life does for you. It gives you perspective.
Yeah. Does. So what about, we've sort of lightly touched on, and when you talk about your own life being tough, what's the detail of that? Where's the moment where, did we watch it play out on television, the worst of it?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Honestly, I think the worst of it for me happened like prior to ever becoming part of the show. And it was really, I had a great childhood upbringing, everything, middle class. Like we weren't rich or nothing, but like I was very happy. And when you live on Long Island, it's like a bubble and you think it's better than everywhere else. So like I thought I lived in the best place and whatever. I like had great friends, great family, everything. And then my ex-husband, I was on the course that I was supposed to be on.
Gotcha.
Like, you know what I mean? And it felt good and I didn't question it. And we had this opportunity come up to move to Orange County from New York. And I was like, let's do it. Let's have an adventure. And my ex is not really that kind of person that like, let's do it. So I really was the catalyst who pushed us to come here. And then we came here and I really look at it like, I think that my ex is not a bad person. Like he's a good person and he is a good father, but
but it was also a bad combo later. Maybe not from the whole beginning.
I think the problem was now the way I look at it now is the way we grew up too. I think he was just very like enabled, and we had a lot of support from our family, and that was the lifestyle there. And had we have stayed in that bubble with all of that support and all these people helping us making our decisions for us and us being perfectly okay with that, we would have been fine. The problem is that we made a choice to move away from that. And we had no support, nothing. And I really think he just lost his way. And then he made bad decisions. Right. That's why I choose to look at it like it was meant to be. He had an affair. And for me, that was like, I couldn't even fathom that happening. And I remember the moment that I found out, it was like the whole rug got pulled out from underneath me. And my whole life as I knew it was just gone.
Yeah.
And it was, have brought up the fact that you had a panic attack. I literally remember going in my closet and it was like, like when you're young and you do like whippets, it's like wah, wah, wah. That's what it was like. And I remember sitting in my closet and my whole world was just like closing in around me. It was like wah, wah. And I just didn't even know what to do. It was like an outer body experience. Like, this isn't happening. This isn't my world. This isn't my life. Like, this isn't, no. Like, when did this even happen? I didn't even have an inkling. Like, it was like, just got knocked and rocked. And
looking back though, do you go, of course that happened?
Yeah, kind of. Because I guess looking back now, I'm like, I actually don't even think that we were, it's sad to say because I don't want to say that because it's like we have children and a life and stuff, but I truly feel like now that I'm with Travis, like I understand what being truly in love with somebody in a rewarding relationship is and
on both
a partnership.
sides, and it's the right thing.
Right. And I just really, so I've really identified that and I've looked at that and I've gotten through that because I've identified that as like, we just really weren't supposed to be together.
And by the way, for people who don't know, would you say, and I know you can't speak for him, but just from your perspective, would you say that Matt has that too now?
I think so. I think Matt obviously has a lot more regrets in how he handled a lot of the situations that we went through regarding him and I in our relationship. So it's easier for me to look at it as the person who gets to be the good one in this scenario. Wow. Honestly, you know what I mean?
What an honest thing to say.
It really is. It's easier to be in my shoes now. It was harder for me to be in my shoes then, but it's easier for me to be in my shoes now. And I don't like to speak about that because that's where I think Matt really does have a lot of regret attached to that. He feels like he let down his family and it's harder for him now professionally. He lost his job as a result of that. So he's building himself back up and he understands and takes responsibility for all of it, that he's done that to himself. But I think it's obviously like you're going to have some regrets there and what ifs and whatever, where I don't, because I'm in such a good space now. And it was those decisions, I was not in the best place emotionally or mentally, but when the show came, it felt good. And I decided, lean into this and don't give it away. And it's scary and it's exciting, but it feels good. And I truly believe that was put in my path to help me get to where I'm supposed to be now. And honestly, the reason why I feel like so good about that too is because I can't even think, it blows my mind to think what would have happened if I wouldn't have gotten this opportunity on the show. I would have been either stuck in this marriage or I've had to and that's why I give so many women, they come to me and they're like, you're such an inspiration, or like if you got through, I can get through it. But like honestly, I give them more credit because there's so many women who are in, it's a tale as old as time what happened to me. There's so many women who are in that situation and they don't have the world, manifesting to plop you. I was like, surprise, I'm going to be a celebrity now.
You know what I love about what you're saying though? And this is a great lesson or example of, you could tell this story very differently. You could tell the story of how your husband had an affair and you were doing it in front of everyone. Mm-hmm. And you looked like a fool. You're not telling it that way. You're telling it as, thank God this happened to me, because what it did was it put into motion where I'm at now. And when people ask me about it, I actually have empathy for the fact that they don't have a TV show.
They don't. And they don't have, it's harder in some ways, obviously it was hard for me because I had to share with the world. But the trade-off was a lot of the other stuff, like financially, that was navigated for me. Like the show has been a blessing. And I have been there, when we were going through it, and then you get cut off financially. And it's like, I've bounced run checks and stuff. Like I've been there, and it's very hard to try and build yourself up and keep working through everything with the chaos of like a relationship falling out and children involved. And it's very scary in general. Yeah. But like a lot of women they don't even get divorced or whatever because they're stuck. What are they going to even do? Yeah. You know what I mean? No. Like that. And I evaluated that. That's why I didn't leave for a long time too. I was like, what am I going to do? I went to college. I had a degree, but I had 3 children. I hadn't worked in years. All my connections even to the workforce were in New York. And I'm like, what am I going to do? Be the aide at school and make, and I could and I would have if I had to, but that is hard.
And that's the real part of what a lot of people have to deal with.
It's very hard.
Why did you guys where did y'all meet?
College.
Okay. And y'all just decided, get married, have 3 kids. I mean, did it just happen because that's what happens?
Yes. It's kind of like
and what
sad, but yes.
So people think of the housewives, it's not as common now, but I feel like Bethany changed this and some other people along the way, but it was really known as people that were affluent, had a lot of money. Yeah. Did you guys, when you went on the show, before I know the sort of bottom dropped out and everything changed for you guys, did you go into the show having money?
And I never lied about that. Like I always just was okay with who I was. Now, I want to put it in perspective. We live in a very affluent part of the world. We live in Orange County, California. And
so comparatively,
right. I had a beautiful lifestyle. But even in our town in Coto de Caza, where Real Housewives of Orange County started, we were, we felt privileged and lucky just to get inside the gates. Like it was a stretch for us just to get and buy our home that we bought. We were very proud of it. We were a very young couple, up and coming. I feel like, we would have been more financially successful as we went along the way, but like we were very much just like starting out. I drove a minivan, like we didn't have, like I bought my home and had plans to eventually renovate it, like stuff like that. But I just felt happy to even just be there in general. Yeah. And I remember Matt, a lot of people thought that because he had an affair previously, but a lot of people thought that he had it in LA because he had an apartment in LA, but really that was like,
that's definitely what I thought.
But that's not, he was actually living there because he moved out of the office where he was working because I wanted him out of that office. And then he wanted us to relocate and start over there.
In
and
LA?
I was like, I won't go.
It was LA, right?
Yeah. And I was just kind of like, I won't go. I can't, Woodland Hills. I was like, I can't go because I felt like I kept waiting for him to step up and like show me that this was actually going to work out. And I didn't feel like he was putting in the work to do that. And I didn't want to keep following him again. I'm like, I followed you across the country. I'm not going to keep following you if you're not like going to give me, and I didn't have the right feelings about it. And I just knew it wasn't the right decision. So I stayed, and then he would come home on the weekends. And, it's just weird because even my friends, when I was auditioning for the show, they were like, well, say you have a second home in Woodland Hills. I was like, it's like a crappy apartment in Woodland Hills. I'm not going to say I have a second home as if it's some vacation home. I was like, I'm just going to be who I am. Yeah. And honestly, I'm so thankful
I hope everybody hears that. I mean, it is the opposite.
Also, side note, it is very, because I see this happen to women now because we've been through a lot of women since I got on the show. And what they do is they audition as the women that they think
that's right.
the show wants. They think that you probably have a lot of experience with this too, just in the industry,
exactly
right?
the same
People
thing
are
as music.
trying to be who they think you want them to be.
That's right.
Then if they get casted though, if they're slick enough to really send that there, now they have to be that person. And they're not. And I feel very thankful that I was just myself and it was fun and I got casted to be myself because now I could just be myself. Whether it's good, bad, or ugly, I have the privilege to just be who I am.
Yeah.
And I like that. And that's easy for me. And that's the lane that I exist in the best. And that's how I just operate in all facets of my life. And it's been good to me. And I think it's brought me things. And it's also helped me feel my worth even more, right?
Yeah.
Because this is who I am and it's enough.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, that.
And that's what all these women they still come on the show. I'm like, this is my 5th year. They're still crapping on me that I'm poor and my house is little. And I'm like, yeah, but it's enough. Like I'm still here,
And focusing on that it's enough just builds it and makes it grow. And meaning being so happy with, I know what that one shot of where the kids were sharing. There were 3 kids in 2 bedrooms. Is that right?
Yes. They still are there.
Straight up Brady Bunch.
They have
y'all
so
are
much
the Brady Bunch.
Fun. Yeah, we really are.
Bringing 3 in a piece.
Yes.
Ridiculous.
3 and 3 is a lot
First of all,
children.
the fact that both of y'all in your separate worlds decided that having 3 kids was a good idea, that tells you right now you're meant to be together because you're both insane.
Well, the third one, I'll tell you, really pushes it over the top. And Luca was a surprise.
Okay.
I definitely cried when I peed on the stick.
Yeah.
But I couldn't imagine life without Luca.
I know.
But it is insane. My second 2 are only 15 months apart.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. My sister has this exact same story. She didn't know she was going to get pregnant.
Yeah.
So
I think
fast,
a lot of us.
And she cried too. And guess what?
I could
cried
track
too.
my cycles.
When
That's
she
not a
showed
thing.
me that.
You cried too? Yeah.
When my sister, because we had gone on this trip and it was my sister.
You're like, you're ruining everything.
2 of her kids. Well, this is so funny because we were just having enough to where we did some pretty bougie shit, which was we would take a private plane to Disney.
That's pretty bougie
it's
shit.
Bougie. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I forgot to tell you when we started this, I am fucking rich.
Oh, right. Yes.
So
that's amazing. Congratulations.
No, but
I don't know why you just didn't pay somebody to walk up those 80 steps for you.
I know.
Right.
Last night I was like, they don't know who I am. Why did I not just have an elevator installed here? No, but for real, this was a rare occasion where, because the whole family was going, we rented a plane to go to Disney for my kid's birthday. It was around Christmas. It actually ended up being something that was more cost effective than trying to get everybody. It's a long story. Maybe not quite. It was great.
You sound like a rich person trying to justify your decisions to take a jet to Disney, but it's fine.
Yeah, that's very true. But what happened was we all went, and so there's 4 of us. My husband, me, our 2 kids.
Yes.
My sister, her husband, 2 kids. And we had a nanny with us. Okay. So there were 9 of us on the plane, which that size plane, that's how many people you get on the plane. So on the way back, we were talking about, because there had been talk about them having another baby, about us having another baby. And we said, I think we're so good right now. Like we are lean and mean. There's a parent for every kid.
That's good.
And
that's
we have the nanny to help us. And we're the perfect size for a private plane.
Right. Which so many people can relate to.
One tear came down my sister's face. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Oh my God.
And she was like, I didn't want to tell you because I didn't know for sure. But yeah, we're having another one. So I haven't spoken to my sister since then. That was 4 years ago. But
that was a really
listen,
good decision.
I hear they're doing great.
I mean, you have to. Not everybody's going to get the.
What am I going to do? Leave one of their babies when we do the private plane? Because I'm not leaving the nanny.
No, you're not leaving the nanny.
No, but I don't even know why I told that story.
I'm really glad you did.
Because you said you had 3. I think people that have more than 2 kids are crazy.
Right.
And we have twins.
You do have twins.
And I've actually all along wanted to have another one.
They're very entertaining.
Thank you. I know they definitely tried to entertain you.
They did.
Put on a show for you.
They're very entertaining.
When you came over to the house and your kids weren't with you, all I could think was, she's come to visit Nashville. She's gotten away from her kids. And now my kids have decided to please let her be entertained by them. They're just like, Gina, look at me. Look at me. Look at me. And I'm like, she's used to this. But
honestly,
she needs a break.
I love that. No, but the thing is, I really do like being around the kids, especially the ages that all of our kids are, because They're fun and they are
I know.
entertaining.
And honestly, our kids haven't gotten to spend any time together.
I know. I'm
which I
excited
really,
for them to hopefully soon be able to get, because I know they're going to get along too.
Who's all going to the show tonight?
Just me and Travis.
Yeah.
Because we needed the break.
Well, good.
Which
My
will be
kids
great because I'll be
there and they can sit
babysitting your kids. I see what am I the nanny in this scenario?
Yeah.
As long as I get a seat in the jet, we're good. Okay?
You do. If that's your title. If that's your
It's all right.
title.
I will do nanny. I do nanny well. Yes.
No, but really, when telling that story the way I have to just say, it's hard to even talk about the true shit you went through to get where you're at, to try to give people perspective. The reason why it's hard is because you already lived your life the way you stepped through things, okay?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't sound like you've ever been a victim.
I don't like victim. I feel bad because I understand.
But did you not
logically.
Did you not ever go, I can't believe, Matt, you did this to me? Or did you just never see it that way? Because that's the natural.
Well, I saw it that way then,
right?
But
it doesn't sound like you stayed in that very long.
No, I don't like that. I don't naturally subscribe to the victim mentality because it's very anti-manifesting.
Absolutely,
what you
it
want,
is.
Right? And it doesn't make me comfortable. I don't feel like a victim. I feel like someone who's living their life and things happened.
But don't you think most people don't even realize when they're being a victim? Most people, anytime something happens, like your husband having an affair, and I almost feel uncomfortable saying that because I don't know him, and I also know you're protective of that story, and there's more to it, and you take a lot of responsibility for all the things. But the truth is, most people, and I've had a lot, I have a lot of really close friends, but a lot of close women friends who've been through this, and I've watched the same story over and over and over being, one, my friends who've had husbands cheat on them, they were desperately looking for it, looking through phones, looking through emails. No. And I always will say, look for it hard enough and you will find it. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, they say, well, then that's why I'm looking. But the truth is, you're bringing it. Already. You're bringing it in. It's like exactly. Your whole world is sort of being dictated by this, but it's victim. It's looking for power in that. I've done it. I mean, I have in my worst sort of, still using and drinking, but yet being married, I could totally try so hard to turn into the victim in a relationship of going, let me find some power here. Let me look through this phone and find some text that gives me some sort of power over you that says, look what you did, because I know what I'm doing. And so I want to flip it. But my point being, it doesn't sound like you lived that way.
No, I'm really not like I guess I look at it like this whole power thing, like people who are powerful, or they want to have this like power over someone else or whatever. To me, it actually just resonates as like a weakness that like you feel the need to have control of someone else or power.
But there's
over
a lot
someone.
of that in the Housewives. I mean, there's a lot of like, this is the text message, haha, let me tell you what she said. Let me tell you what they did. And it's interesting that you don't really buy into that. And I believe you. I mean, you don't. And I don't see that behavior on the show. I'm just saying it's very unusual because I think most people could easily turn all of these situations into look what you did to me. I mean, I got to tell you, it's amazing to me, your friend, Tatiana, that she never for a minute said, I can't believe Gina did that.
Nope.
Or didn't try to villainize you.
Never. She cried for one day
for
herself,
her own loss.
For her own
Had
loss.
nothing to do with you.
And then, but you know what? That's another example. That's a person in my life who I can now go to that exact example. And I talk about that a lot because to me, I'm like, that is who you are, who you hang with, right? And
That's
I'm
right.
like, that is a person who's in my life. I attracted that. That is a testament to her, but I also feel like it's a testament to me too. Like we are together, and like that's that is a lesson that she taught me, and it's something that I choose to look at, and I still talk about it because that is something that affected me in such a positive way. And it's like you learn things from people along the way, good, bad, or ugly, right? And it's like what you take from these lessons and these things and what you do with them is up to you. But like for me, that was a powerful story. I can't believe that I was so upset and nervous and scared when that happened, because my intention was never to like
step in
and then take some, but she doesn't look at it like that. She looks at it like you didn't. And that's the way I approach the show even now. And maybe taught me that is I don't play this cutthroat island. To me, no other woman can come in and take my job from me.
Amazing.
It's just whether I give it away or not. And to me, I've always said, look, my life is interesting to people and I understand that. But the day that it's not interesting anymore, that's okay. I'm going to move on. I'm not going to sell my soul for it. I'm not going to do this like survivor mentality. Like nobody can come in and take your place unless you let them.
What you say, but it's not even. If somebody else came in and it's not even possible.
It's independent of yes. Like that's their journey. That's their story on the show. And I'm very much you're the sum of the parts.
And this is the time I'm here. And this is not the only thing.
If you're winning, I'm winning.
Well, when I've been working on this Broadway show for years that is now finally.
Could we talk about that?
Well, one of the aspects of it that I wanted to mention with what you said was I got to be a part of the audition process where I was on the other side of the table, people coming in auditioning, and you see the nerves and you see people thinking, oh, I flubbed a line, or and I realized in all of the hours of auditions that we saw, most of the time we knew within a minute if the person was right. And it didn't matter if they fell on their face. If they were the right
they were saying
person,
it's who they were.
It's the essence.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even a competition. It was like if they brought something in that was like, oh, we haven't seen that. It's not what we thought, but they have a place here.
Right.
And nobody else can take it because they're doing their own thing.
Right.
There's no way to compete with that.
Right.
And so whether or not they ended up being in the show, it's the ones that came in and they were just like, this is how I do it. This is who I am. I can't try to be that other person. Maybe they have the best voice, but maybe I have this interesting quirk that it's just funny. It was always
it all leads back to that
quirks.
Vulnerability. You put yourself out there and you accept whether you're right for the position or not. You accept whether you're right for that role or not. You accept whether you're right for that partnership. But people always think it's
about a moment. It's why we get nervous. It's even I do that where I'll get nervous about something and think, oh God, I gotta go in here and nail it.
Wouldn't
but the truth
you rather take a chance on yourself, your real self, than if you only have a moment and you waste that moment trying to be something you're not?
Yeah.
Then I'd rather gamble on myself.
And the other thing is going in and being yourself. Like in the example of these kind of things, somebody walks in and they nail it being themselves, even though they're wrong for the show. Guess what? There's a casting director in that room that's casting 5 other shows.
There's another opportunity
and it's like,
there.
We know what that person is because they're coming in, they know themselves. So this is, there's a perfect spot over here for them.
There's a perfect spot for everybody.
Absolutely.
There is a lid to every pot.
That's right.
Right? And I believe that. And I would rather find my right lid in every different situation and scenario than like try to work so hard to change my pot to fit all these other lids that just don't naturally fit.
That was a very good metaphor.
You know what? I'm really good at metaphors.
That was a really good metaphor of a mom too, talking to the kids.
That's literally what my grandma used to say.
Really? Yeah.
There's a lid for
I'm not surprised.
Pot. Yeah. It's a pot of sauce.
Sauce.
Yeah.
That's the sauce.